Did you know that the force making this tetherball spin around me is the same one that pushes you to the side of your turning car, and that it's a fraud? Let's dive into the world of circular motion. First things first, we need to talk about how forces actually work. Isaac Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia, states that an object at rest remains at rest, and an object in motion remains moving at a constant speed in a straight line unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. For example, when I'm standing here with my dog Orca and she starts pulling me down the road, she's exerting a force greater than any of the other ones acting on me, and as a result, moving me forward. Forces are vectors, which means they have both magnitude and direction. Another vector is velocity, the speed and direction of an object, which works with forces to move things like the tetherball. To see how this works, let's look at how the force and velocity vectors affect objects. Picture me as any object, Orca as the velocity vector, and Aggie as the force vector. When the vectors move in the same direction, the object, or me, speeds up. When the vectors don't move in the same direction, the object slows down. But what happens when the vectors move perpendicularly to one another? Well, this is called centripetal force, and it means that instead of speeding up or slowing down, the object turns. If the force vector remains perpendicular to the velocity vector, then uniform circular motion occurs. As you can see, the force is always directed toward the center of the circle, seeing as centripetal means center seeking. Now, remember when I said it was a thief earlier? What I meant was that it piggybacks on other forces, stealing their work and passing it off as its own. Take the tetherball as an example. It's attached to a rope that is attached to the top of this pole. In order for the ball to keep going in a circle, some constant force has to be pointing toward the pole. It's the tension force from the rope that creates this centripetal force. This is the same as when you're in a turning car. The static friction creates the centripetal force, which is what you feel pushing you outward or inward. But why is any of this important? Well, without rotational motion, our universe would look a lot different. Just like the previous examples, the constant force of gravity is what keeps our planets in their orbit around the sun. One last thing. Many people confuse centripetal force for centrifugal force, a false concept. But now that you know what centripetal force is, you'll be able to spot the pseudoscience